Is everyone ready to go? Are we sure?
Okay.
Stand by, please. Going live in three, two, one.
Start the clock.
Q and out.
Live from the Health Sciences District, we welcome you to our studios at University Health, Kansas City's Essential Hospital. Now here's Keith King.
An international powerhouse collides with a contender right here in the heart of America, and we're here to talk about it. The Netherlands and Tunisia battle it out at Arrowhead. Good morning, everyone. I'm Keith King with University Health, and welcome to Healthy Goals, our live YouTube show where our providers talk about World Cup soccer, the wins, the losses, the bumps, and the bruises after each matchup. Joining me live in the studio this morning is Dr. Michael Moncure, a University Health trauma surgeon and critical care specialist. When the unthinkable happens, whether it's a serious head injury or a life-threatening emergency, Dr. Moncure is one of the experts you definitely want on your side. Also joining us, Steve Hager, University Health's Emergency Management and Compliance Director. He is here to talk about how University Health and healthcare providers across the region have prepared for World Cup, and that includes big gatherings, emergency response, and keeping fans and our community safe. Coming up on Healthy Goals this morning, we will break down last night's big matchup between the Netherlands and Tunisia, Tunisia falling to the Netherlands. Also, one of the most common injuries, devastating injuries in soccer, is a torn ACLU, especially among female athletes. A University Health orthopedic surgeon will share what players can do to help prevent these season-ending injuries. And you'll meet a former professional women's soccer player who now helps University Health patients recover from serious injuries. So also, if you are a member of the media, we want to hear from you. Just email us your questions here at publicrelations@uhkc.org. Again, our email address is publicrelations@uhkc.org. Email us your questions and be part of the conversation. Okay, let's bring in this morning's guests, Dr. Michael Moncure and Steve Hager. First of all, gentlemen, we are looking at some amazing footage of the Orange Fan Walk that happened yesterday afternoon, starting at Power on Light and then heading to FanFest. Dr. Moncure, you have been a huge soccer fan for many years. What's your take when you see this type of enthusiasm here in Kansas City?
So, having been on call, I wasn't able to attend, but I did watch the footage, and I did get pictures shared by some of my colleagues who did take part in that. And I've got to say, I mean, by far, being a soccer fan, it just really makes me, pretty excited and emotional from the standpoint that this city is embracing soccer. I've been a fan for a while because my oldest daughter played throughout college, and the saddest day of my life was walking on senior night with her at her last home game.
Yeah.
But just seeing all those individuals, and I could tell you, not everyone was from the Netherlands,
Yeah.
but everyone found an orange shirt, and the excitement was palpable.
Right. It was a sea of orange out there. And I saw on social media, somebody said Kansas City really needed this because there was a lot of pride happening out there. Steve, I would imagine in your position with emergency management, a lot of planning goes into events like this. You and I probably are in the same boat where we look at this with excitement, pride, but also a level of concern. How did everything go yesterday?
Yeah, I don't think it could have gone better. We were really worried about the weather and watching that and thinking that there could be some impact. So we had to be really careful about the timing. They actually moved the time up a little bit to make sure they could get the march in. It went off flawlessly. Talking to FIFA staff last night at the Regional Command Center, they talked to fans, and we think this was even bigger than the march they had in Dallas. So I think Kansas City can be proud in saying we did it bigger and better than Texas. And that's always something to be proud about. And we were able to pull that off successfully yesterday.
Those are some great bragging rights.
That's
there.
right.
I do want to ask a reporter question. We heard from KSHB 41 news reporter Charlie Keegan this morning. He asks, how difficult is it for emergency managers to make a call to close an event where so many people are planning to attend or were actually attending at that time?
Yeah, we never want to be the Debbie Downer, but our responsibility is to make sure everyone has a safe and enjoyable time, but we have to focus on that safe time. So again, we were watching the weather and we moved the event up so we could get the march in. They opened up Fan Fest early so people could start having fun. But when we knew weather was starting to roll in, we had to make a very tough decision of ending the event to get people out safely. A lot of times in sports they'll use like a 8 mile rule. So if lightning is going to be within 8 miles of the event, they're going to start getting people off the field and out of the stands. Well, that works great for smaller events.
Mhm.
When you have events with thousands of people and limited transportation and resources, you have to accelerate that. So we had to start clearing the event out earlier to make sure people were safe the entire time.
Mhm. And Charlie's follow-up question is, where should attendees go when they get kicked out of an outdoor event for weather reasons? In this case, people can't just necessarily go to their cars because there's bus transportation
Right.
and other transportation modes to consider too.
Yeah, so that again, that's one of the reasons why we cleared it out earlier is we had to have time to get people onto buses and to get them away from the area and to safe locations. Also, being able to go indoors, so finding a building you can go into, a parking garage or something like that. Where you don't want to be, if it's raining, a lot of times rain comes with the storms. And so I'm going to get in under this tree so I don't get
Mhm.
wet.
Mhm.
Well, that tree is also a great lightning rod, and a lot of people who get struck by lightning, they're not standing out in the middle of an open field. They're standing under a tree, and that tree is what's drawing the lightning. And they're not getting struck directly. They're getting it through the ground and around the tree. So
Mhm.
those are areas you don't want to be.
Mhm.
So find safe structures, someplace to be, but stay away from trees and such.
So structures such as, again, parking
Parking
garages.
garages, your car.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Dr. Moncure, I want to ask you a question that comes from Suzanne King from the Beacon. Can you provide an update on what the hospital, what University Health is seeing in terms of our patient traffic into the ED? Have there been any upticks and any common problems that we are seeing here?
So one of the things that we anticipated was the estimate was about 20 to 30% increase in volume in our emergency departments. I don't know that we've seen that. But in regards to FIFA related activities and individuals that come as a result of that, we've seen 16 over the duration of the actual tournament. And they know the variety of kinds of things such as heat exhaustion, no substance and alcohol abuse, uh, one appendicitis that one of my colleagues had to take out, and then other things, minor injuries, ankle sprains, and such. But it is not. I think one of the things we've been fortunate with is our usual Kansas City summer has not arrived yet.
Mhm.
And that would be kind of a game changer if there were that many people out at the stadium or in the fan fest, no, in sweltering heat.
Mhm.
So we've been very fortunate.
Right, right. And we're hitting the halfway point of World Cup here in
Right.
Kansas City. So
Just finished that last night.
right. Yeah. And hopefully that this mild weather will continue. Steve, kind of from a region standpoint, are you hearing anything regarding injuries and illnesses and treatments like that?
Yeah, so to Dr. Moncure's point, we were originally planning for that higher number.
Mhm.
And then talking to FIFA and getting better estimates, we dropped our percent of increase to about 8%. And we're still not seeing that. But, to Dr. Moncure's point, really the summer heat was our big thing. And we've been unseasonably cool going into this. So tomorrow night, Saturday night, is match number 4, and we should be pretty good temperature wise.
Mhm.
Starting Sunday, summer's coming back to Kansas City. We'll have heat into the 90s. We'll have heat indices over 100. And our next match will then be Friday, July 3rd.
Mhm.
And I think we will be in summertime weather by that point.
Right.
So while it's been pretty uneventful so far, we still have 3 matches to go. 2 of those will probably have pretty good summer weather. So we still have to really be worried about those things that we've been planning for 2 years.
Right, right. And that you mentioned that July 3rd match. I mean, that's obviously going to be a huge weekend here.
Right.
Knockout round.
Yeah,
Right.
correct. Yes. And
4th
4th
of
of
July,
July.
people are off that day. It's the recognized holiday, so people aren't going to be working. They'll get off Thursday afternoon probably, and they'll start celebrating that entire weekend. So FanFest will be open.
Mhm.
They don't have to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of picnics and other events happening. So yeah, there will be a lot going on in Kansas City.
Sure. Okay. All right. So, Dr. Moncure, you know, obviously a lot about concussions. Concussions happen quite often in soccer. We've had some hits
Yeah.
during this World Cup, during
And
the
quite
World Cup
physical.
tournament, including one of the players from the United States team, Alex Freeman. Last Friday during the match with Australia, can you talk a little bit about kind of the changes or how FIFA has made changes to keep an eye on players and keep them safe through this tournament?
I think the major sports that have contact related to them have done an awesome job as far as stepping up safety for athletes. And so their premise is that if there's contact or there's any activity on the field that looks like it could possibly incur concussion, then there's a huge amount of caution, and those athletes are assessed. Particularly if you've seen a lot of players lay on the ground, that could be, trying to draw fouls. But if there's obviously head contact, and a lot of times it's player to player in that instance, they'll be evaluated on the field. If it's taking too long and they're not sure about the assessment, they'll take that player off the field
Mhm.
and they'll continue that assessment. Alex Freeman was very fortunate because it looked like significant contact.
Mm.
But just because there is that contact doesn't mean you've incurred a concussion. And that assessment comes from a battery of cognitive tests, as well as just looking physically at the player's balance. And if that's intact, then those players are allowed to go back onto the field, which you saw. And for us, fortunate because he scored a goal like
Mhm.
shortly after that.
Mhm.
So I thought that he was probably pretty healthy, based on the way he played.
And the evaluation time can take how long usually?
Yeah, couple minutes.
Mhm.
And they try to speed it along, but the referees are pretty much told that those players have, if it's taking long enough, like you saw that in last night's game, they'll take that player off the field and then continue that assessment, and have to be allowed back on the field by the referee once the medical staff has cleared that player.
Talking about soccer, but beyond soccer, and just kind of for the general population, what are some of the common causes when it comes to concussions?
Okay. So the big ones in soccer, well, any athletics, it's usually athlete on athlete collisions, uh, contact, and obviously football is probably the king of all that. Now, in regards to, because there's just so many collisions occurring simultaneously on the field, so that's the leader. But surprisingly, the second no most frequent athlete to incur concussion are women's soccer players, because I don't know if you've seen a lot, but it's pretty physical, and for whatever reason, if you take sport for sport, no, women are probably just like ACLs. Women are more likely to incur concussions, but it is fast paced. There's a lot of contact. It's extremely physical. And so there's the physical contact and their headers. Headers are because of that incidence, youth soccer under the age of 10, they're not allowed to head the ball. And 11 to 12, they're allowed to do it in games, but not in practice. And so they're continually looking at ways to keep people safe.
Mhm.
And in football, they're trying to limit the amount of contact during practice. And so, again, limiting the amount of incursions like that.
Okay. I have more questions regarding kids and concussions here coming up later in our show. Steve, one more question to you though before we wrap up here. We're at the halfway point, really over a week into all of this excitement. What lessons are we learning here about World Cup and hosting an event this big?
Yeah, so Kansas City, we've been fortunate to have a lot of big events. We've had World Series parade in 2015, and that was a good learning experience. We've had multiple Super Bowl parades, and those are all things we've learned from. So we've been planning for this for over 2 years. And really, a lot of that didn't come down to effective planning until the last 3 months because things kept changing. But really, we've identified what we thought were going to be the problems, and we've put good things in place. Um, the crowds have been well behaved, so we haven't seen. And again, it's been unseasonably cool for Kansas City summer, so we haven't been seeing a lot of those things. But knowing that we've had conversations, we've got the plans written, and really that regional collaboration means so much. Murphy's law is if something can't go wrong, it's going to go wrong. Murphy spends all day reading plans, knowing where to get us, and so plans are great, but it's that planning effort that really matters, and it's those relationships. And we've seen more networking and cooperation uh, getting ready for this than we've ever seen. And in Kansas City's had great relationships over the years. This has just gone to the next level of getting everyone together to be partners in making this successful.
Right, right.
I've worked with Steve a long time, and I'm pretty sure Murphy hates him. Okay, because he thinks about things we as a region and we as a hospital are very fortunate to have him.
Absolutely.
Well,
Definitely.
we say Murphy's Law writes the script,
Mhm.
and emergency manager's job is to rewrite the ending. So we don't let that event, that disaster, that chaos rule how we're going to respond.
Mhm.
We just figure out, pull up your bootstraps and get the job done. And we do it together within departments, within our hospital, and within our region, I think better than any place in the country.
Absolutely. Keep calm and just keep moving forward.
Yep.
All right. And we're University Health is lucky to have both of you here. And I'm grateful that you're taking time to chat with us here this morning. But if you don't mind, stay with us for a couple more minutes. I have more questions later in the show. But first, I want to talk about soccer. And as we've been talking about this morning, it's filled with pivoting, cutting, and quick changes of direction. And that can put a lot of stress on the ACLU, one of the major ligaments in the knee, especially for female athletes. University Health orthopedic surgeon Dr. Christopher Shaw explains why women face a higher risk of ACL injuries and what athletes can do to prevent them.
Female athletes and the ACL with Dr. Christopher Shaw.
The ACL is one of the main ligaments that connects the top part of your leg to the bottom part of your leg on the inside of your knee. It's one of the most common orthopedic injuries, especially in pivoting and twisting sports. There is definitely an increased risk and incidence in female athletes. Women are fairly quad dominant. The ratio of the strength of their quadricep muscles to their hamstrings is higher than in men. So if the hamstring is relatively weaker, can put increased stress on that ligament. What we've seen that has proven success in decreasing the risk is neuromuscular coordination training, so specific drills that people can do to increase their core strength and coordination. There's an initiative by FIFA on preventing these injuries, and they have a program that's designed to train the athlete to decrease their risk of injury.
For early appointments and late night care, for the moment you find out it's a girl, to the first time you hold her hand. With advanced maternity care, on-site level 3 NICU, and access to level 4 NICU, University Health is the one for you. At University Health, we're teaching Kansas City what it means to care. Through the power of academic medicine, teaching can bring more minds to our patients. It solves some of the most complex medical cases in the city. And it provides hope to those who need it most. How can we care for all of Kansas City? Teaching can. University Health.
For Jennifer Bukowski, soccer is more than just a game. It's a passion that took her to one of the nation's top college programs and eventually to the professional ranks. Today, Jennifer brings that same determination to her work as a physical therapist at University Health, helping patients recover from injury. Here's her story.
I'm Jen Buskowski. I'm a physical therapist here at University Health. I'm also a former professional women's soccer player. I became interested in soccer. I started really young, 5 years old, I think, but was never super serious, always was just playing with my friends. And I remember, kind of finding a passion, falling in love with the game, probably when I was like 13 or 14 years old. I started to do a program called ODP, which stands for Olympic Development Program, and the start of that pathway, I really kind of focused in on it and really fell in love with the game and trying to get better as much as possible. I played on the youth national teams and was able to travel to Italy and France, so a lot of travel at a younger age. So I got recruited to play at Notre Dame, and we won the national championship in 2004. Soccer was a big part of my college experience. Being a student athlete is a lot of hard work, but also very enjoyable. And I'm definitely happy with my experience at Notre Dame, and to walk away with a degree there in 4 years was really great. I graduated from Notre Dame in 2007, and at the time there was a new women's professional league that was going to be starting. So I got drafted to New Jersey, and that's kind of how my professional career started in 2009. And I played there. We won the championship my first year, in Philadelphia for the next 2 years, and then found my way to Kansas City in 2013. So it was the original Kansas City women's professional team, and we kind of helped, I think, pave the way for all the greatness that the KC Current has today. When I came to Kansas City, we won back-to-back championships in 2014 and 2015. So, I think those are memories that I kind of look back on and realize how kind of special that period of time in my life was. I continue and keep soccer in my life through coaching. I coach at a local club here in Kansas City and kind of trying to help the next generation of kids fall in love with the game and get better and find a passion for what they're doing. Working as a physical therapist at University Health here, I actually work on the inpatient side. I think my soccer experience can definitely help my patients here at University Health, and I think having that motivation and that leadership to kind of help other people when they're struggling, when they're in pain. So I think having that experience as an athlete and a soccer player, I can help patients hopefully in their lives get over difficult challenges.
All right, let's bring back our guest this morning, Steve Hager, University Health Emergency Management and Compliance Director, and Dr. Michael Moncure, a University Health surgeon who specializes in critical care. And Dr. Moncure, Jen. And despite the fact that she went to Notre Dame and you went to USC, you're great collaborators here at University
We're
Health.
great collaborators, but if we ever got down to sports, it would be a war.
Can only imagine.
Right.
Can only imagine. We've got some more reporter questions coming in this morning. Lisa Gutierrez with Kansas City Star asks a question to you, Dr. Moncure. What questions should parents ask youth and school officials to ensure they have quality concussion protocol?
Okay. That's an excellent question from the standpoint that you're really not allowed to operate a major operation in regards to sports without having those safety pieces in mind and in place. And so it was several years ago that I basically was kind of frustrated that we didn't have the laws. Missouri had passed a law for that encompassed concussion safety. Kansas hadn't. So I kind of mobilized. I went out and talked to Johnson County moms. That was done. All right. If you want something done, you get them involved,
Sure.
and it's a done deal. But bottom line is they should have a mechanism for recognizing both parents, athletes, coaches, referees, and trainers should all be able to recognize what risky plays might be associated with concussion, and that player should be pulled off of the field right away
Mhm.
because there's nothing good that can happen from youth soccer by staying on if you do have a concussion.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, it can be pretty lethal.
Mhm.
If your brain is already in that clouded state of concussion with all the things that go on, and then incur another concussion, that could end up being life threatening.
Mhm.
So that is definitely something extremely necessary. And once those individuals are pulled off, they should have a proper evaluation before they're allowed to play again.
Mhm.
And if they pass that, they can go back. If they don't, then they should be held out for in a return to play, uh, basically protocol. No, that's the CDC and everyone has it well documented as far as how it should go. Once all symptoms are relieved, then they go with light activity, heavier activity. Then towards the end of the week, it should be the sports related activity that you're playing. And if none of those incur any symptoms, then that patient or player is able to return to play.
Mhm.
Until that happens, that should not be what occurs. And one of the unfortunate things that kind of drove a lot of this is a young man in the south region of Kansas, uh, who was a football player who incurred a concussion. Family doctor, did a
Mhm.
couple of CTs, nothing there, which you're not going to find anything on concussion, and was allowed to return in 4 weeks because he said he wasn't having any symptoms. It should be really objective. And that game, I think he had over 200 yards rushing. He was a homecoming king, but he incurred something in the second half that he went into full blown second hit phenomena and swelling and died that night. And so we had to take this very seriously because all kids want to get back on the field. They
Mhm.
all, I,
Mhm.
as a
Right.
dad traveling
Yeah.
with my daughter and her teams, you know, they every kid, particularly soccer kids, they're tough.
Right.
They're saying, "I'm fine. I just want to go
Mhm.
play." But and I've seen kids with torn ACLs try to go run back out
Sure.
there, and I'm the physician on the sideline, and I've got to stop it. But
Yeah.
there's more precautions now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look for those.
Well, unfortunately, it often takes tragedy to bring about some
Right.
type of positive change then.
Right.
Steve, we've got a couple of minutes here this morning. Talk to me a little bit about what you're hearing from FIFA. How is Kansas City doing in this tournament?
Yeah, so last night I had the opportunity to talk to the FIFA official that is staffing the regional command center, and she couldn't be more impressed with the way we're running things here. She gets to talk to her counterparts across North America, all 16 of the host cities, and she said, everyone has a command center, but they're not all cooperative like we are. They're not, while they may have the same equivalent people sitting in those rooms, they're not having the same level of conversation. They're not as collegial as what we are. And I think she thought that would be surprising to us. And it's not. I mean, Kansas City, that's how we've played for years and
Mhm.
years. We don't see boundaries and barriers. We're two states. We're 9 counties, we're 119 jurisdictions. But at the end of the day, we're one Kansas City, and we are so cooperative and willing to work together. With the hospitals, we're all competitors, right?
Mhm.
We're all fighting for that individual patient each and every day to get them in our door. But in my world, it's all about coopetition, not competition. So we know if St. Luke's or KU or HCA, if they fail, we're going to fail during that disaster because of that. So we never let that happen. And it's not only the hospitals, that's everyone's mentality in our region. It's not Johnson County, Platte County, Jackson County. It's one Kansas City. How do we work together?
Mhm.
And we do it again better than any place in the country.
Yeah. And we all have been in a lot of planning meetings, and you have mentioned and talked about this morning, Steve, about Kansas City has been planning this for 2 years. For other cities haven't been planning this long. You want to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
just
I've national calls as late as March, and cities like Los Angeles and Seattle were just starting their planning efforts. And Kansas City, we'd been at it for a year and a half at that point. And I think I said earlier, really the majority of our planning happened within the last 2 or 3 months because we got definitive answers on some things, and we're still waiting for definitive answers on some things. But building those relationships and knowing who to pick up the phone and call, or being able to turn and having that relationship, there's more value in that than what you could imagine.
Mhm.
And so while we weren't as effective as we would have wanted to be 2 years ago, we were building and establishing all of those relationships. And that pays off at the end of the day, because when we're sitting in that command center, I know almost each and every person sitting there. And if something happens, I know who I can go talk to and rely on to get information, share information, to make a better response.
Mhm. Well, now we got to think about the next big event.
Right.
We got all this practice and real
Women's World Cup
action.
is coming up in a couple of years.
There you go. There you go.
Well, welcome to Kansas City.
Absolutely. You heard it here
That's right.
first, folks. All right. Well, Steve and Dr. Moncure, thank you both for spending part of your morning with us. We appreciate all your time and your expertise. That's a wrap with this episode of Healthy Goals, where our doctors and staff talk all things soccer. Once again, thank you to Steve Hager and Dr. Michael Moncure. And be sure to join us here again Monday morning at 8 o'clock when we talk about tomorrow night's match between Algeria and Austria. And finally, please hit that like button and subscribe to University Health's YouTube channel. From all of us here at University Health, we hope your day is full of big saves, great goals, and plenty of cheers. Finally, we leave you with the sights and sounds of yesterday's Orange Fan Walk. Have a great day, everyone.